Dina.
And I'm David. We're talking Celebrity Big Brother. Couple of evictions
We
have
got
to cover.
a couple, yes.
Yeah.
We had a speedy last few days.
Yes, for sure. So the last time we talked, it was still Tom was HOH and had just nominated Candy and Joey.
And the house was turning against Tomato.
Oh, yeah.
Tom and Kato.
Yeah.
The house was losing its mind over them.
Yeah, and Tom is kind of like reeling a little bit because he's like, well, nobody used the power of the publicist. Like, this didn't go how I thought it was going to go. Right. But he's still got his plan to kind of backdoor Ricky is where his head's at that point.
Right. Saturday's episode, we see what we had kind of talked about in the last video of Lolo getting mad and yelling at them, which I just still don't fully understand why you're so mad at your Alliance member when you're the one who told the other Alliance member. Anyway, doesn't matter.
It doesn't make any sense. She just like, and when I was watching the episode, because you know, I had like read about the feed spoilers and all this, but then when I saw it, I was like, is this edited to make it look like she's popping off really abruptly? But then it happens again later in the episode. It just seems like she goes from like here to here with no warning whatsoever. Like she will just start screaming at you out of nowhere.
She runs hot.
Yeah, as Joey says.
Yes.
So then we get to the veto, which we had not spoiled.
Dina was hilarious.
Oh my god.
She could not.
She couldn't do anything.
She couldn't.
She
was like, spin, and then by the time she got over there, her time was...
The guy was back up, and it was just a mess.
Anyway, we see how Tom was chosen over and over again. They were obviously working against him.
Obviously, yeah. And he sniffs that out right away. He's like, because he says to Natalie, like, please don't pick me, and then she picks him. So he's like, clearly she wants me out.
And afterwards, they played it off of like, there was asthma.
Right.
So I always had to... Okay, anyway.
Right. Natalie wins the veto, though.
Yes.
And she has a plan that doesn't necessarily align with Tom's plan to backdoor Ricky.
And they had said ahead of time, if we win this veto, we don't have to use it, and then Tom doesn't get any power. And that's exactly what we see.
Right.
They don't use it, and Tom's a little...
Tom's mad. And Natalie, there's that moment where she like comes into the room and she's like, after she has not used it, and she kind of like almost tries to blame him, and she's like, Tom, where were you?
Yeah.
Where were you all day?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you didn't come and talk to me. That's what happened.
They were like, okay, we got to go up there and act, and like, you know, they started that way, but it didn't last long. No. You know, they were like over it, then they're yelling at them, and you know, then they get lots of fights.
Yeah. And then doesn't that lead to the fight with Kato in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Because Kato's like, he's kind of being weird in Kato, and he's like saying to Natalie and Lolo, he's like, I'm starting to see things clearly.
Right.
I'm seeing what's going on around me. And then boom, Lolo is like off on a screaming tirade, like she is not having it with Tomato.
Alliance done.
Done.
We see it. It's happened.
Yeah.
But then we see the eviction live, and Joey is unanimously gone.
Yeah, and Joey had a fantastic exit interview.
He did.
He was so funny.
That was the best Joey yet. I mean, that week leading up to it, he was like into the game a little bit more, which was exciting to see. I feel like his interviews going into the game, maybe he was just so scared that he was a bit reserved, and he was like, you know, whatever, if I don't win, you know, like, whatever. I don't want to play the game. Yeah,
and he didn't really know what he was getting into either. So he probably was just like a little, like, you know, tenuous about everything. But then once he was out, he's like, woo, Lolo burns hot. And you look at her 1 second too long and she's, you know, popping off on you. And it's just so
And he was talking about what he learned in the house. And I felt like that was genuine. Like he had an experience and, you know, good and bad. And it was fun to watch him sort of just be himself.
Totally.
In the exit interview, it was really great to see.
Yeah. Well, then going into the next episode, Tom is a little like, what happened?
Surprise.
Because he was really expecting to be a tiebreaker in that vote.
Yes.
But at the last second, the House kind of decided to unify behind Tom's back and unanimously evict Joey.
And it was kind of a bummer as a viewer because there was a moment on the feeds when Candy and Tamar were talking, and, you know, Candy's like, you know, you got me, right? And Tamar's like, I could never, you know, vote against you, obviously. But Candy then revealed too much, and she was like, great, so because Tom, it said, if you vote this way, Dina, you know, then he'll be the tiebreaker, and he'll evict Joey.
Yeah.
And it was gonna be like a big
moment.
shock. Yeah, a big moment for Natalie and Lolo and Ricky. But that information, then Tamar sort of is spelling it back to them and saying, and of course they were like, Tamar, you can't, you have to evict Candy. You have to vote to get Candy out. And Tamar was like, I just don't know. I just don't know. So she did think about it for a while, and we saw on Monday's episode her kind of come to Jesus moment where she was like, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
And so that gave them the foresight to then be like, well, we don't have the votes. We're not going to give Tom that power.
Right.
Joey's going to have to go.
Yes, because basically everything in the house right now is motivated by, we need to take power away from Tom, because he just, him and Kato, especially him and Kato together as a twosome, they are this like unlikeliest of powerhouse duos. That's like just winning comp after comp after comp, and those are not the people you expected to win when this cast was announced.
No, and it's also kind of interesting that they're the likable ones.
Yeah.
Because the other side of the house is being so angry and like attacking them for playing the game.
Playing the game, yes. The other side of the house takes this so personally and seriously. And Tom and Kato are sort of the only two in the house who are like, it's a game, everybody. And they're like, yeah, but it's not a game because da-da-da-da-da-da. And just like, whoa, people, you need to relax.
I really wanted to root for Lolo and Natalie as feisty females, like ready to play, but they're just being so angry that I'm like, oh, this isn't fun anymore. Now I'm just rooting for the nice people because that's where we're backed into a corner all of a sudden.
So now that all this has gone down, Tom and Kato both know that their only hope for safety this week is for Kato to win HOH because Tom can't compete.
The whole house is against them,
Yeah, so they're doing like the magazine cover one where they have to like spot mistakes in the magazines, and it comes down to Tamar and Kato like has eliminated a lot of people and is doing really well, but Tamar just has that eye.
Tamar was good at that comp.
Yeah, so she wins her first HOH, which I was excited about because I want Tamar to do well. I'm a fan.
Absolutely. I'm rooting for Tamar. I was so excited she got an HOH, but at that point, I know the only people she's against are Tom and Kato.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a bummer that it's just a given that those two are going to go on the block.
Right, and so we don't even see any game talk in the episode. They just go right to the nomination ceremony.
Yeah, it was a real speedy episode.
Very
which part of me liked and then part of me didn't.
Yeah, I missed a little bit of that game talk that, you know, we normally get to see before the nomination ceremony.
Yeah.
But Tamar does her best dramatic Big Brother speech.
Oh, I loved it.
And she just has so many BB-isms in the speech, and like, it's not personal. This is a game, and you are a threat.
You are a big threat.
Yeah. It's just so dramatic. This meeting is adjourned.
Tamar.
So it was great. So then we have Tom and Kato on the block next to each other, which is really what the whole house wanted, except for Tom and Kato.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with that.
So we do get to see a little bit in this episode about Natalie coming up. Of like, what happens if someone does win a veto? Like, what's the next plan? And you kind of do see the wheels that turn in that, you know who actually is a threat in this house? Is Natalie. And I loved seeing Candy talk to Tamar because Tamar knows that she's in this little group with the people in the bedroom, but she's not officially in an alliance with them.
Right, and
which
she
means
knows
you are at the bottom.
You're at the bottom, right, exactly. And Tamar kind of acknowledges to Candy that, yes, Natalie is the threat here.
Right.
So if there needs to be a replacement nom, it would be Natalie. And I'm like, yes, thank you for realizing.
But they would have still voted out the other person of Tomato.
Right.
Like, they would have taken out Tom or Kato no matter what.
Which is smart because, like, they're a power duo in the house as well. Like, for sure, Lolo and Natalie are a power duo. But really, Tom and Kato at this point in the game are a bigger power duo because they are actually winning competitions.
Right, exactly.
They play the veto.
They play the veto at Gallagher, and old Gallagher shows up.
Right. For whatever reason, really I don't know. Yeah.
Oh,
he still had it though with the hammer. Yeah. And I'm like, do people really know who Gallagher is?
Oh, I bet most BB fans do not know who Gallagher is, right?
I was like, oh, I remember like the watermelons and all this stuff. I was like, he still got it. Like, slamming that hammer over his head and all that stuff.
I think Tom was so excited that Gallagher was there that he couldn't really
forgot to pay attention
to the comp.
But guess who did? Lolo. And she got every single question right in that true false competition. So she's got the power of veto now. Of course, she's not changing the noms.
She wants tomato out.
Yeah. So then we see the veto ceremony play out. The noms are the same. Then we get to the live eviction, right?
Unanimously, they are voting out one of them.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that they chose to keep Tom.
Yeah, me too.
They really thought that Kato was the strategic person that needed to get out. But also, Kato had won more comps at this point. So they thought overall Kato's the one that needs to go. Yeah. Which is just great for us because at least we still get entertaining Tom.
Right. But Tom was not expecting this at all. Apparently he and Kato like made a bet before the eviction happened, and Tom was like so sure that it was going to be him. And Julie called him out in his speech. He basically gave a goodbye speech to the house, like, thank you so much.
It was his HOH that went horribly wrong.
Horribly awry.
And that alliance broke up.
Yeah.
So I can see where he thought that, but they both thought it. And so here we are with Kato gone.
Kato unanimously gone. Now that's 5 guys in a row evicted from the Celebrity Big Brother house. No woman has been evicted yet. And we're down to just Tom and Ricky on the men's side.
Yes.
And Julie also...
Those two ain't getting along.
No. Yeah, exactly. And the last thing that we should point out of this episode was that Julie pointed out the power of publicist had expired, had never been used.
Had not been used and is no longer valid.
So Tamar's secret is safe, which is like a nice little feather in her cap.
Yeah, because she'd have been in big trouble had that been revealed.
Yeah. So now we can get into some spoilers, right? Spoilers. First time we got to do that this season. So they play the HOH. Tom, it's a must win for Tom, right?
Yes.
And he pulls it out.
Tom is the new HOH.
Oh my God.
That boy can win a comp, apparently.
But now, of course, Tom has been fixated on Ricky this entire game, basically.
Right.
So he's still targeting Ricky, and he's trying to figure out a way to get him out. And I'm very excited to see these one-on-ones.
Oh, yes. So this is the first time in this season that we've seen someone do one-on-ones.
Which is what I live for, because this is where people's stories might get mixed up a little bit, right?
And you can make different deals with different people.
Exactly. Like you might try to have a united front, but then once you're in the room just one-on-one, who knows what you're gonna say, right? So I'm so excited to see these on TV.
Now, of course, this group of celebrities is like, you don't get to threaten me.
Yeah, right.
And he's like, I'm just trying to make deals and play a game here.
Right.
But people have different definitions in this house of how you play this game.
Lord.
So he's vague with who his targets are and who he's going to put on the block.
Yes.
But he definitely makes Lolo feel like she might go up as a pawn.
Yeah.
He makes Natalie feel like she's safe and fine. And he makes deals with Tamar. If she doesn't go up, she wouldn't put him up.
Right.
Like he's trying to basically plant seeds of, will you protect me and will you vote out the person I want voted out?
Yeah, right.
Which is risky.
Now, I think he is explicit with a few people. We'll have to see how this goes. But from what I read, it sounds like he was explicit with a few people that he wants Ricky out, that Ricky is his target.
Well, he's been working with Candy.
Yes.
We should talk about that. He and Candy, and this has been so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because Candy, like we kind of talked about, like she kind of maybe is playing the game, but like very low key.
Yeah.
But she is definitely strategizing with Tom more than I've seen her strategize with anybody in the house.
Yeah.
She is talking about specific people, who we need to get out, you know, and she is the one that sort of emphasized Natalie being a threat.
Which is 100% true.
And that shifted Tom's mind a little bit, and he ultimately put Ricky and Natalie on the block.
Yes, that's what
was a surprise.
That's what got him away from this idea of putting Lolo up as a pawn.
Yeah.
Because he really meant it. Like Lolo was going to be a pawn. He wanted to ensure that Ricky would get voted out.
Yeah.
And Candy was basically like, no, but like Natalie's a bigger threat here.
So he puts Natalie on the block with Ricky.
Yeah.
Then they play veto. Tom wins veto.
Wins the veto.
Natalie legitimately said after the feeds came back, he's a cop beast. Like, Like those two girls are so competitive, and
they can't beat him.
He keeps beating them.
It's crazy.
They're losing their minds over it.
The only way Tom's gonna lose is if he can't compete in an HOH comp or something.
Well,
like, he just seems to win everything else. And
don't get too cocky.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has to be careful,
yes.
but it's just really getting in their heads, I think, because Lolo has said to him before, like, there's no way that I could beat you in anything any day, but there's just luck sometimes, but it seems like
he's got a lot of luck, Lolo.
Yeah. Right. So now he's got all the power this week, and
which we've seen can kind of go to his head.
And sure enough.
Look, he really wants Ricky out.
Yeah.
So when he hears people talking about, but Natalie's a threat, he's kind of now thinking, well, do I take Natalie down and put somebody else up that ensures people vote Ricky?
Right.
And he keeps saying that he can get Lolo to work with him. And I don't understand where that's coming from.
And why does he think that? Like, how many times does Lolo have to chew you out in front of the whole house for you to think maybe she's not on my side?
Right. He thinks that if he gets Ricky out, that he can get Lolo back, and that Lolo will work with him and Candy and Dina.
It must be, well, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
He legitimately is saying this.
But the only thing I can think is that in the one-on-one with Lolo, she was very much like, honor the original alliance and we can all work together again. And Tom must just be hearing, I want to work with you.
He bought it.
I don't know what's going on there, but that's the only thing I can think is that Lolo has pitched working with him again, but it's all fake. Like, she doesn't mean that.
It was obviously fake in the beginning because she ran back and told Ricky, your plan, Tom.
Right. How many times does she have to burn you for you to get it?
I don't understand why he's missing that point.
Yeah.
He's so blinded by Ricky. Again, we agree with you, Tom. Ricky's not to be trusted. But he's not running any game.
No.
Lolo and Natalie are a power duo.
Yes, they are ride or dies.
If
so you have to break
them up, you're gone next.
Yeah, they're coming for you.
They already got out your other half.
Right.
You are next. I don't understand why he's missing that.
Right.
It's only because he had that one little spat with Ricky.
Yeah.
He doesn't trust Ricky, so he's built Ricky up to be this mastermind, and that's just not the truth.
And the fact is that it is essential that they get out one of those three this week.
That's true.
So do not put any kind of pawn up that is not Lolo, because you have to get out one of those three. If you're gonna take Natalie down in the hopes that you could send Ricky home, you have to put Lolo up, because if the house decides to flip, at least you'll get one of that threesome out, because if you don't have the numbers to eliminate them from here on out, and they're gonna probably
stop
through.
Ticking people off in the house.
Yeah.
You already put 2 people up on the block. Why are you gonna put a 3rd one up?
I know, don't get
and
the
just
extra blood on
anger
your
more
hands.
people?
Yes.
It looks like you're just throwing your power around.
Yes.
So right before we started shooting this, Tom and Candy had been talking quite a bit, and he's talking about taking someone down, and Candy's like, stop it, why are you doing this? Like, you gotta just chill out.
Right.
You know, she's saying you're blinded by Ricky, let's vote out Natalie, but it doesn't matter. Ultimately, she's like, calm down, don't take someone off, don't use the veto. She goes and tells Tamar he's thinking about using the veto, and Tamar says, so put me up?
Right.
Now, Candy doesn't say yes or no, because honestly, Tom hasn't said that he was going to put Tamar up. He's run through quite a few options.
Right.
But like, that's not necessarily his plan. She does not say yes or no. So Candy says, well, to ensure that I vote Ricky out.
So Tamar takes that to mean...
Tamar's on a tear.
Right.
She goes into the bedroom and first tells everybody he's gonna put me up, and they're like, what? And then she walks out into the kitchen where Tom is, and she was like, no, don't you think you're gonna put me up?
Right.
And she said something about threatening me.
Yeah. And he goes, you gotta stop using that
word. And she was like, well, you gotta stop with this BS.
Yeah.
You gotta stay. He's like, it's a game. She's like, it is not a game.
Not when you're threatening people.
Feeds cut.
Who knows why?
It didn't look like they were across the kitchen. It didn't look like they were about to like go at it. First off, Tom's being very calm.
Very calm. Nobody's holding anything that they could potentially throw. Like, it didn't look like it was going to explode into some big thing.
Yeah, Tamar, you know, she pops off like this. That's just what she does. So I don't know why the feeds cut like that.
Right. And
they stand off for at least like 10 minutes, I think, before like we were setting up to shoot.
Yeah.
And so it's suspicious. But that's where we are right now. So
boy.
I don't think that Tom's gonna put Tamar up unless he really wants to twist Candy's arm, but that doesn't go well when you're trying to work with these people.
Yeah.
Tom, come on.
And I really don't know if that's gonna work for him, because I think if he puts Tamar up, Tamar might go home, right? Because Lolo and Natalie are gonna vote to keep Ricky.
I mean, that's a tough one because Lolo and Natalie are also working with Tamar, but they seem to be working closer with Ricky.
Yeah, I think so.
Ricky is also saying, like, it's my time to go, doesn't matter.
He's being a martyr, yes.
Nobody fight for anything.
He wants to fall on the sword.
Yeah. He was like, you guys winning is me winning, you know, whatever. Tom called Ricky the cult leader to a Zen angry cult the other day, and I was like, that's spot
genius.
on.
Yeah.
Tom, that is exactly what it is. I can't quite understand how this dynamic is working, but that's exactly what it is. Ricky's very much a cult leader.
Yes.
Even though he's not pulling any strings, he just has that, like...
that energy.
Yeah, that energy, and it is a Zen angry energy.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Yeah.
But please, Tom, keep the noms the same.
I know.
And you know what? If the house votes out Natalie instead of Ricky, just go with it.
It's okay. It's not the worst thing. And I think that's what would happen, because I think the rest of the house, like, nobody else is fixated on Ricky the way Tom is.
Yeah.
So I think they all recognize that Natalie's probably a bigger threat, and that's probably the way it would go. But Tom, come on, just realize, like, it's gonna be okay if Natalie goes home before Ricky.
That's what's coming across difficult for the rest of the house. Because if you get
Natalie out, that weakens Ricky's game, you know?
It
like,
does.
play the long game. Don't focus so much on this right now.
Lolo and Natalie, if they lose Ricky, you know, oh, they were working with him, but they're still a power duo.
Yeah.
You take out one of those girls, yeah, Ricky will work with them, but it's not quite as strong.
Yeah, because they lose their ride or die, and they're gonna be then in search of another ride or die.
And how many comps has Ricky even come close to winning? None.
I can't think of one.
He's not great at these comps.
Yeah.
How many comps has Natalie and Lolo come close to winning / won?
Yeah, I know they both won a power of veto. I think they're both capable of winning HOH, so it would be good to get one of them out.
Keeping them together is just hard for anyone else to do anything.
Yeah.
I need Tom to stay in the house for comic relief.
Yes, because...
So I need him to get it together.
Yeah, don't get all drunk. Please learn a lesson from your previous HOH reign.
I don't think he did.
Do not get drunk on this power, okay?
Right.
Just keep things the same, because we need you there for the comic relief. Dina's giving us some unintentional comic relief.
We're laughing.
but it's not because she means for us to laugh.
Right.
And Tamar's really the only other entertaining one in the house.
Yes, I need Tamar and Tom to stay in the house, because that's what's entertaining.
Right.
I like watching Candy strategize, but you know,
she's not making me laugh.
Right.
Right.
It's not super entertaining.
I mean, it's like a race to the finish now.
Yeah, okay, so we have a double eviction on Friday.
Right.
Well, that's going to be a wild ride.
I mean, I just feel like Tom is doomed unless he can get his act together.
He's going to have to win a lot of things. And he's going to have an ally, which Candy kind of is, but I don't know. It's kind of on the line, you know?
Yeah, but that's a 2-hour double eviction on Friday. And then next Wednesday is the big finale. So it's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. You guys, what's going to happen in this double eviction? What do you think about Tom and his little power trips?
Yes.
And who do you think is going to win this?
Yeah, tell us what you guys think. And we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.